Rabindranath Tagore, a famous Indian poet and artist, had deep feelings for China. He visited China in 1924 and had extensive communications with a batch of talented Chinese poets and writers. 2024 marks the 100-year anniversary of Mr. Tagore's visit to China. We had a chance to talk to a member of Mr. Tagore's family. Souraja Tagore told us in Beijing how Mr. Tagore was immersed in Chinese culture and influenced his Chinese literati friends. A long-standing connection had been developed between Mr. Tagore and China. April 2024 marks the 100-year anniversary of Mr. Tagore's first visit to China. So, what impressed you when you read his writings about China?
I have known China from his writings because Tagore had extensively written about China. The last two visits were very short, but he did visit. He had written a lot about Chinese people, his friends, what he has learned from their culture. And I think I have also reading those works, his essays. And there have been many scholars and researchers in India who have further, done research and study of Tagore's visit to China. So my knowledge has been primarily on those sources. But what I have understood is that Tagore had learned a lot from his visit, and till his last days, he had remembered with affection his friends from this country, and he had even written a poem dedicating it to friends in this land. If you look at the cultures, if you look at the traditions, the value system, there is a lot that we share in common. We have been neighbors, and as an artist, I think there is a lot that artistically we can learn from each other.
As a descendant of Mr. Tagore, what can you do to promote the cultural exchanges between China and India to ancient civilizations?
Tagore had done a job which is beyond ordinary. His exchanges, his travels are huge, massive, and the impact he had left on people is something that we can see today, remember him after 100 years. So my work compared to what Gurudev had done, compared to Gurudev's towering achievements, is extremely meager. It is as tiny as standing in front of a huge ocean, and I cannot judge how deep it is. But as a part of the family, I think it is my responsibility to travel with his words, try to understand what he had written years ago, and try and make it relevant to the current generation. That is my job, to help the values, the ideas of Tagore live among the current generation.
That's a very meaningful job, and they will have significance. It will leave significance to the future of our two peoples.
I don't say anything new. I only remind people of what Tagore had said and the relevance of it today in this modern, fast-moving world. Tagore should not be backdated. He should not die in oblivion. He has to live through the younger generations, and they will only understand and realize him when people like us try and make Tagore easily accessible to them. I think that is my job, to work as a Tagore ambassador.
So you're a dancer, and how does the traditional Chinese culture influence your dance career?
Dance is a beautiful language. I don't speak Chinese. I cannot read Chinese. But I have traveled to China several times with my dance. And I have had no problems communicating with artists and dancers, because as a dancer, we have the power to communicate with our expressions, with our body. And when two artists meet, I think it's a beautiful connection that we automatically have. Something which I cannot explain to someone who is not an artist. I was teaching a few Chinese students in a high school a couple of days back. And I was so thrilled to see that how beautifully they emoted their expressions and they danced, because it's an Asian body. You have to understand. And Asian bodies move very similar. So there is a connection that we could feel instantly. Two very ancient civilizations, we have so many things in common. And it is very easy to explain and exchange culturally because we understand better. And I think one of the finest examples that I have received on this tour is the beautiful performance that these high school young girls learned and gifted me.